This episode is sponsored by Code Crafters. As an engineer myself, I know that the best way to learn how to code is to build something new. But sometimes it's hard to come up with project ideas as well as find a community of folks on the same learning path. That's where Code Crafters comes in. With Code Crafters, you can build something that actually stimulates your mind while strengthening your engineering fundamentals. And you can do so by using your favorite IDE or tools to code and build your own Git, Redis, or HTTP server in the language of your choice. Languages like Rust, C++, or Go. Code Crafters is designed to optimize your learning experience as it's designed for productivity. Sign up today and become a better, more confident programmer. Visit codestory.co/codecrafters. That's CODECRAFTERS to get started and get 40% off your upgrade. Okay guys, I got a serious update for you. You heard me talk about SEMA and the product roadmap radar. I just caught up with Matt, who's the founder there, and he gave me the latest on what they are building. And my mind is blown. The team at SEMA are taking things to the next level. Built around the core of the product roadmap radar, i.e. code and Jira analysis, they are building agent orchestration across the product lifecycle. Picture this. You hook up this system same as before, i.e. integrate your repository and your backlog, Jira today. From that point, SEMA's agent analyzes the codebase and makes suggestions as to what needs to be done next and what could improve, optimize the product. Then, if those tasks are routine, the agent assigns the task to a coding agent, think something like Devin, to complete the minutia, while assigning the human-in-the-loop task to engineers themselves. What you end up with is engineers focusing on building core competency features, while AI handles all the rest. If you're not salivating right now, I don't think you fully understand what this means. But here's what I would suggest. Right now, their product is in a closed beta, and SEMA is looking for folks to sign up for their Product Intelligence Advisory Board. This gives you the opportunity to use the product, give feedback, help shape the future of what's built. Oh, and not to mention additional free usage of the product, potentially through the end of 2026. So, if that fits your workflow and toolset, you need to reach out today. Go to codestory.co/nextlevel, NEXTLEVEL, and reach out to Matt at SEMA to learn more and join the Product Intelligence Advisory Board. Again, that's codestory.co/nextlevel. This episode is sponsored by Postman. Postman is the world's leading API platform, trusted by 98% of the Fortune 500 and over 40 million developers. Tap into APIs from 18,000 plus companies to power agents that make smarter decisions. Learn more at postman.com/podcast/codestory. This message is sponsored by Melee Search. Today, search isn't just a feature, it's a cornerstone. And Melee Search gives your users the experience they need with lightning-fast performance, full-text search, AI usage, and multimodal capabilities. Melee Search delivers relevant results in less than the blink of an eye. Use the promo code CODESTORY at checkout to get 2 months free at meleesearch.com. That's MEILI search.com.
As AI started to become a thing, we got together, spun up a small team inside the company and said, if the future is going to be AI accessing data and not apps accessing data, what are the challenges that exist? What problems need to be solved? And we spent a fair bit of time really working through that, getting really deep into the space. And what we realized was that the hardest problem with AI accessing data inside a business is a problem of accuracy and trust. And as everything improves, the accuracy and trust problem is going to be the most important challenge to solve, as it's not going to be connectivity. It's not going to be the format of the API. It's really going to just be accuracy and trust. I'm Tanmai Gopal. I'm the co-founder at PromptQL.
This is Code Story, a podcast bringing you interviews with tech visionaries.
Spent 6 months moonlighting.
There's nothing on the back end.
Who share what it takes to change an industry.
I don't exactly know what to do next.
Took many goes to get right.
Who built the teams that have their back.
A company is its people.
The teams help each other achieve more.
Most proud of our team.
Keeping scalability top of mind.
All that infrastructure was
Yes, we've been fighting it as we grow.
Total waste of time.
The stories you don't read in the headlines.
It's not an easy thing to achieve, mind
Took
you.
it off the shelf and dusted it off and tried it again.
to ride the ups and downs of the startup life.
You need to really want it.
It's not just about technology.
All this and more on Code Story.
I'm your host, Noah Laupart, and today how Tanmai Gopal is giving you custom AI with near perfect accuracy, enabling you to build reasoning specialized for your business. This episode is brought to you by Paddle. Don't settle for less when you can have more, MOR, with Paddle, your merchant of record. Eliminate the headaches of payments, grow your revenue everywhere, and focus on what you do best, building your product. Get more revenue with less hassle at paddle.com. This episode is brought to you by PropelOff. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use PropelOff. PropelOff is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like Managed UIs, Enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, PropelOff adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When auth is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with PropelOff. Check them out at propeloff.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com. Tanmai Gopal is a repeat guest on the podcast. Back in Season 7, he came on to tell the creation story of Hasura, which is a universal data access layer for next-generation apps. He talked through he and his colleagues' frustration with building API after API and taking steps to ensure people wanted to not do that work anymore. As Hasura started to take off, Tanmai started to ask the question around what was the right method for developers, in particular their applications, to access data. With the advent of AI, he and his team dug into what the right problems were to solve with AI, and they identified the main problem with this type of tech was accuracy and trust. This is the creation story of PromptQL.
PromptQL is the second product from our company, Hasura. And we got started about 2 years ago and launched our product early this year in January, February. Think of it as a virtual AI analyst inside your organization. Instead of business stakeholders or customers having to talk to a data analyst or data scientist or data engineer to help them get access to data and get access to insights, they instead talk to the AI analyst to get that insight or to set up a workflow on their data. And the existing kind of data team, the data engineers, the scientists, the analysts, they turn into teachers of the AI analyst. At Hasura, the problem that we were solving there was providing a safe, performant way for apps to access data over a GraphQL API. We're saying that, hey, if as application development is becoming faster and developers want better tools, what's the right API that needs to exist for apps to easily access data? And then as AI started to become a thing, our founding engineers and can recruit some folks from Google Search and do it, stuff like that. And we got together and spun up a small team inside the company and said, if the future is going to be AI accessing data and not apps accessing data, what are the challenges that exist? What problems need to be solved? And we spent a fair bit of time really working through that, getting really deep into the space and understanding as AI models continue to improve, what will be the tough problems to solve. And what we realized was that the hardest problem with AI accessing data inside a business is a problem of accuracy and trust. And as everything improves, the accuracy and trust problem is going to be the most important challenge to solve, as it's not going to be connectivity. It's not going to be the format of the API. It's really going to just be accuracy and trust. Everything else will get solved, but that's the piece that'll be hard. And so we spent a lot of time, our lab did a lot of work to figure out what that is. And then when we launched in January, the ramp was insanely powerful. It was really fast. The product was very powerful. And that kind of gave us a adoption ramp for PromptQL amongst our enterprise customers that was really good. So good that we now don't say we're Hasura and our second project is PromptQL. We just say we're PromptQL, just to not confuse people, right? But of course, if you dig in deeper, you'll be like, oh, cool, Hasura, second product, PromptQL. But now we just we're PromptQL.
Let's dive into what you would consider the MVP for PromptQL then. So I'm sure it's embedded in that story you just told. How long did it take to build, and what sort of tools in particular are you using to bring it to life?
0 to public beta, which I would say is the MVP that was customer facing, took about 2 years. That's from 0, like all the way from like ideation stage to building. Yeah, I think the core, maybe engineering and AI bit of it was probably shorter, maybe about a year, slightly more than a year, about a year and a half. The kind of tech stack is very much the kind of foundation of the technology. And this is the reason why we were able to leapfrog ahead of a lot of other folks in the ecosystem. If you think about what an AI analyst needs to do, that needs to be something that is accurate. As a user, you want to talk to the AI analyst, give it a question, have it understand your question, go do some stuff with the data, and then respond to you in a way that you can trust it, right? Now, there are multiple parts of this problem. If you look at the bottommost foundational part of the problem, that part is data access itself, which is how is the AI system, whatever this AI system is, it magically understands what you're saying, it's magically accurate. Assume that part is taken care of. How does it actually access the data? And that's the place where the existing technology that we'd set up with Hasura really was foundation, right? And if you look at kind of the work that we did with GraphQL, we essentially had data connectors with really fine-grained authorization policies that were powering transactional applications that we'd already built, right? And it were powering applications at massive scale for in really mission-critical scenarios for the Fortune 100. And so when you think about that foundational stack already existing, what we did was we replaced kind of the GraphQL layer and instead added our own virtual SQL layer. So it was the same data connectors, the same security, the policy engine, and this data layer realized everything as SQL instead of GraphQL. So we changed kind of the top bit of that data access, federated data access technology to speak of virtual SQL API instead of a GraphQL API. And that kind of became the data connectivity piece. And what that guaranteed was a sane way to talk to any data source, structured, unstructured, whatever. That was essentially saying, if you're accessing a database, that's a SQL database, select star from users. You're accessing a Mongo, it's still select star from users. You're accessing Google Calendar, it's select star from events. So it doesn't matter what you access. It doesn't matter if it's an API, it doesn't matter if it's a vector database, it doesn't matter if it's SQL. It all feels like a SQL API, a virtual SQL API. And that kind of became the foundation data access piece, right? So think of it as if you plug in an MCP server, our AI sees it as SQL. So it doesn't care about where that data is and what its API technology is and whatnot. And then on top of that came the AI piece, which was a whole other challenge. And that's the piece that took a fair bit of time to build, which is the part that can understand what you're saying and respond to you accurately and stuff like that.
This episode is brought to you by Vention, your partner in building smarter with AI. When you're moving fast, AI can be your biggest growth driver or a major time sink. That's why Vention created expert-led AI workshops, tailored sessions that help startups test ideas quickly, validate product fit, and avoid expensive detours. You'll walk away with a clear, practical roadmap built by senior engineers and an in-house CTO who've delivered over 150 AI projects across 30-plus industries, giving you not just technical direction, but the engineering peace of mind that every decision is built to last. Go to VentionTeams.com or book your AI workshop now at VentionTeams.com/CodeStory and go from idea to impact faster. That's VentionTeams.com/CodeStory. This episode is sponsored by Fullscale. Let me guess, your team's shipping sprint velocity looks good, but you're still asking yourself, is anyone actually thinking about the why? Matt Watson's been there. He's the founder behind Vin Solutions and Stackify and now runs Fullscale with a 300-plus person dev team. And after 2 decades in the trenches, he's seen the same pattern over and over. Smart developers stuck in systems that reward ticket-taking instead of real thinking. That's why he wrote Product Driven, a playbook for tech leaders who are done babysitting developers and ready to build teams that own the outcome. If you're tired of translating every feature, doing all the thinking, or wondering why your smart team is still stuck, this is the fix. Go to productdriven.com/CodeStory to grab the book and get the bonus toolkit to help your team shift from output to outcomes, like 12 bold ways to get your retros out of robot mode. Again, that's productdriven.com/codestory. This episode is brought to you by Paddle. As a startup, you face unique challenges to stay competitive. You and your team need to stay focused on your product, not your payments. You need to do more, MOR, and DIY less. With Paddle. Paddle is your merchant of record, becoming the seller of record for your SaaS transactions, enabling your team to focus on what's important, your product. Paddle handles all payment management across multiple gateways and methods, taking ownership of tax liability while remaining compliant with regulations across all markets. The platform handles all aspects of SaaS billing models, upgrades, add-on, trials, and more. Let's look at the results. MOR revenue optimization is built into Paddle and accounts for up to 16% higher conversion rates, reduced payment failures, localized pricing, and churn prevention, recovering 40% of cancellations. Their developer-friendly tools are API first with comprehensive documentation, removing the burden from your engineers. With Paddle as your merchant of record, you'll generate more revenue, find and keep more customers, grow faster, and stay compliant everywhere. So what are you waiting for? Get more revenue with less hassle at paddle.com. Okay, guys, I got a serious update for you. You heard me talk about SEMA and the product roadmap radar. I just caught up with Matt, who's the founder there, and he gave me the latest on what they are building. And my mind is blown. The team at SEMA are taking things to the next level. Built around the core of the product roadmap radar, i.e. code and Jira analysis, they are building agent orchestration across the product lifecycle. Picture this. You hook up this system same as before, i.e. integrate your repository and your backlog, Jira today. From that point, SEMA's agent analyzes the codebase and makes suggestions as to what needs to be done next and what could improve, optimize the product. Then, if those tasks are routine, the agent assigns the task to a coding agent, think something like Devin, to complete the minutia, while assigning the human-in-the-loop task to engineers themselves. What you end up with is engineers focusing on building core competency features, while AI handles all the rest. If you're not salivating right now, I don't think you fully understand what this means. But here's what I would suggest. Right now, their product is in a closed beta, and SEMA is looking for folks to sign up for their Product Intelligence Advisory Board. This gives you the opportunity to use the product, give feedback, help shape the future of what's built. Oh, and not to mention additional free usage of the product, potentially through the end of 2026. So, if that fits your workflow and toolset, you need to reach out today. Go to codestory.co/nextlevel, NEXTLEVEL, and reach out to Matt at SEMA to learn more and join the Product Intelligence Advisory Board. Again, that's codestory.co/nextlevel. That's actually a perfect point to kind of move forward into the next part of it. I'm curious about how you progressed and matured PromptQL, similar to what we've talked about before. How did you build your roadmap? How did you go about deciding what was the next most important thing to build, to add, or to address with PromptQL?
It is two parts of the problem, right? Which is first, what is the core architecture going to be of the AI system that is going to be scalable? And the second part of it that we looked at, especially when it comes to AI, is what is the business problem and use case that we're going to attach ourselves to so that we can keep increasing product market fit, right? Because especially with AI, it's really important to get your first set of customers right, because they will guide the rest of the product journey, right? Everything is so new with but with AI in general, that you can't take an established playbook and apply it, right? You can't say, this is the playbook for building an open source database and commercializing it. This is the playbook for building an observability SaaS solution, right? Or this is the playbook for an on-prem cybersecurity company, right? Like these kind of playbooks over the last 20 years have really matured. We've learned what works, what doesn't work, right? But that doesn't exist for AI. The only thing that can help is the market, right? So the first set of customers that we choose was going to be very important. So what is the business problem that the North Star that we would attach ourselves to that would help us choose the right set of customers? And those are the two real pillars, right? What is the core architecture going to be so that we can keep investing in it and it scales? And second, what is that business North Star going to be that helps us get the right set of customers and keep evolving the product in the right way?
I hear you saying we, and this is how we approached roadmap. How did you build that team? How did you go about building that team? And maybe it's similar to Hasura, but how did you go about deciding that those folks were the right horses to join you?
It's a little bit of a founder instinct, I would say, when you've worked with enough people and you know what the right founding engineer and founding member team looks like for different types of the problems, right? And then certain kinds of knowns and unknowns. So it'll be different for everybody. But for us, what really worked was we needed people with kind of a foundation understanding of AI systems, all the way from, say, machine learning systems to LLM systems, not at a AI lab research scientist level where they're thinking about the AI model 2 years from now, not that level of understanding. But let's say anybody at an AI lab who's working as an AI researcher on once the, say, pre-training is done of the model, right? And we knew that we needed that level of understanding of the AI and ML space to be able to really understand what the right AI architecture is going to be. And so that's that first pillar of setting up the right architecture. And you need the right people to figure out the known unknowns, to help navigate the unknown unknowns and set up what that AI architecture is going to be. And so for us, that was very kind of foundational knowledge of like computer science, computer systems, and kind of systems level understanding of how the entire stack works, plus AI ML, foundational knowledge, maybe what I would call like a level of masters or maybe the first few years of your PhD kind of level knowledge of how AI and ML systems work. So that kind of was on the tech side. And then I would say on the business side and go-to-market side, my co-founder and some kind of members of our GTM team when we looked at that side of the team, what we really wanted was, according to our business North Star, we weren't sure till we launched in February whether it's going to be product-led, it's going to be top-down, it's going to be a combination, it's going to be SaaS, like what's the go-to-market motion going to be? So we needed kind of people with enough breadth on playbooks to do rapid experiments and decide what go-to-market motion we were going to go for.
This episode is sponsored by Melee Search. In today's digital landscape, search isn't just a feature, it's a cornerstone. And you need a user experience that drives customer satisfaction. You need Melee Search. Melee Search has lightning fast performance, returning answers in less than 50 milliseconds. Yeah, you heard that right. Faster than the blink of an eye. The open source AI search engine is plug and play, so you can get up and running in minutes with smart presets, allowing you to start searching through your data with zero configuration. Melee Search utilizes advanced full-text search and AI, ensuring your results are ultra-relevant with semantic depth. It's multimodal, supporting images, videos, and audio, along with being federated, i.e. searching across multiple data sources. And it's developer-friendly. Whether you're building a content-rich website or enterprise application, Melee Search delivers the experience your users expect and deserve. For a limited time, CodeStory users can get 2 months free. Use the promo code CODESTORY, all one word, at checkout. Just go to meleesearch.com and get started today. That's MEILI search.com. This episode is brought to you by PropelOff. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use PropelOff. PropelOff is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like Managed UIs, Enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, PropelOff adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When auth is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with PropelOff. Check them out at propeloff.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com. This will be interesting given it's embedded in your bread and butter, right? I'm curious about scalability, specifically for PromptQL. Have there been, areas where you had to think through this in the early days as far as architecture? Was it sort of just baked in all the time? Or have there been areas where you've had to fight it as you've grown?
So scalability is very core to PromptQL and to the PromptQL kind of value prop, right? And so those kind of two pillars that I talked about, the business pillar that we ended up choosing and that North Star was actually accuracy that scales. And so what we realized early on is that there are going to be two parts of the problem. One is the core architecture that gives you baseline accuracy. But second is going to be the architecture that allows accuracy to scale. And if you look at the way AI systems work today, right? if you take a really narrow use case, you take a small amount of data, you take a small number of users, you can actually get AI to be really accurate, right? The more you narrow it, the more specific your use case is, the easier it is to achieve high accuracy. And what we figured was that's not going to be enough for AI. What needs to happen is that accuracy needs to scale to a breadth of use cases, to a breadth of users, to the breadth and chaos of data that actually exists in an organization. And that's what we anchored on, and that's the bet that we took. So we said that building a specific agent that works on 20 tables, helps you do analytics on it, ask questions, do visualizations, maybe set up a workflow, move data from here to there, right? Help me do this, whatever it is, it's not good enough. What is important is how can thousands of users interact with a data system that has hundreds of thousands of tables and metrics and APIs, and how can AI solve that problem? How can it solve this problem at massive scale and still be accurate, right? How can we provide accuracy that scales? And that became our business North Star. And we realized that was the bet to take. And it was really gratifying last month when that article came out and then where I did an interview with Forbes and with Fortune talking about exactly our experiences. When that report came out of 95% of enterprise AI projects are stuck in pilot, that's exactly what our hypothesis was. And we were saying, hey, most of your AI projects in pilot will work. The demos will work, but it will never scale for two reasons. It won't scale because the behavior change that a user needs to go through to adopt AI is pretty serious, right? It's a very big change for a user. So if the AI doesn't do enough for me, I won't change the way I work, right? It has to do enough for me to change my behavior. And so a narrow use case, that's too narrow. If it automates setting up a calendar event for me when I chat with it, right? It just does that really well, it's not good enough. I don't want to change my behavior. I'd rather go to the calendar app and choose my own meeting. It needs to be broad. It needs to be able to do calendar and email together so that I can change my behavior. Otherwise, it's just too much pain to do this. And the second part of it was accuracy can be achieved in that small thing, and you'll feel good about it. You'll be like, oh, cool, look at my pilot. It's so accurate. It works. And at the instant it hits the real world where you don't have 10 users testing it, but thousands of users, right? You can't tell them how to prompt engineer. You can't teach people how to prompt engineer, right? They learn themselves. How are you going to tell 1,000 people that if you prompt my product this way, it'll give you really accurate results. And if you prompt it this way, it'll suck. Not going to work. So those kind of two things happened. That's exactly what the report says is the problem. And we circumvented that problem and seen success with that at scale. And that bet panned out, which I feel really good about.
So as you step out on the balcony, you look across all that you've built, with PromptQL in particular, what are you most proud of?
I think the fact that we focused on solving that accuracy at scale problem and we achieved that, right? We'll go live with a few public case studies, but some of the world's largest operations companies, fast food global chain, one of the largest networking tech companies, the largest quick commerce, online delivery grocery companies in the world, 2 of them in the world are our customers, and deploying it at massive scale and where we've beaten out the incumbents, whether it's Snowflake and Databricks on one side, it's other startups that had a clean slate and just went for solving that data analytics problem. It's not as dime a dozen startups and products that help solve that. And then of course, beating out the AI labs at solving that problem. I think that's been amazing to see. It's a very intense feeling to be just 6 months to a year ahead of the rest of the market in an extremely competitive space, right? It's very exciting, right? Because you're just ahead. You're seeing problems around the curve just a little bit sooner than anybody else's. And you have solutions for those problems that matter just before anybody else does. And just being in the flow in that kind of zeitgeist with the market, right, is I think one of the most powerful things to achieve for a startup, right? The other way you could think about it is it's called a product market fit vector. You never always have PMF, but you have to be on a vector that keeps increasing product market fit. So to really be on that vector is one of the most amazing feelings. And I feel like being able to crack that in the AI space has been something that I'm absolutely proud of our team for being able to do.
Okay, Tanmai, let's flip the script a little bit. Tell me about a mistake you made and how you and your team responded to it.
2 of the most kind of useful things or mistakes that I could, if I look back and I could tell myself to watch out for, and that I think we corrected really well for. So one was this problem where we're building, and this is going to apply to a lot of startups that are like us, where AI is an inflection point for you, right? So you can choose to align with AI and move forward, or you can choose to not do AI and continue to do what you're doing. And I think when you're in that position where you're not, say, starting an AI product or startup from scratch, where it's a team from scratch, right? What you have to do is do this kind of transformation in the organization that allows the AI product to get launched in a way that doesn't destroy the organization or the bits of the organization that you don't want to destroy. Managing that transition is very hard. One of the things where this problem was central is the boundary between product and go-to-market. So which is basically saying, look, we're building product, we're iterating, we're learning on the fly, right? We're building the plane as we're flying it, but in the early days, not even in like the usual, you've gotten your first 100 customer stage of the startup, but you're getting your first 10, 20 customer stage of the startup. So in this stage, what is very challenging is making sure that the product and the go-to-market boundary, one of the challenges that shows up and that showed up for us was, who's going to be responsible for taking that product knowledge and enabling the go-to-market team with it? Are we going to have people who do that because that's what we did earlier, because it was scaled up? Or do we not do that because it's too slow? And initially, we kind of started off with having an existing product management process. You have a product person, you have a product marketing person, you have the sales team, right? And like Eng team talks to the product person, talks to the product marketing person, talks to the salespeople. And this already exists, right? For one part of the company. And then you're tempted to repeat that for this new product, the AI product. But that's too slow. That's just way too slow. So what we did was we created this thing called the One True Deck. And the One True Deck was something that I maintained. And this was the definitive and only deck that described what the product is, right? There was no other source of knowledge. It was just this dense set of slides. There was no variation of this slide of the One True Deck that was allowed. This was the only One True Deck that was allowed to exist. And there was a small set of people, and their job was on a daily or weekly level to keep iterating on the deck. So we would listen to customers, we would listen to product, we would listen to what the sales team is doing and how they're pitching. We would go out and pitch whatever it is. And then we would keep evolving that One True Deck. And that was the only messaging deck that was allowed. You were not allowed to have variations or create copies of that. Design improvements were not allowed, nothing. It was just that One True Deck. And that deck evolved every day, every week for 7 months, from January to just last month, where iterations paused. But till then, that was the single source of truth for everybody in the organization, whether product or go-to-market. And that kind of became the central point. And that was maintained by me as the CEO and 2-3 other people. Like they had to sign off on any update. And then everybody had to enable themselves. So nobody was going to go from the product team and enable the sales team and teach them what the product is and what the deck is. There was a cultural transition that we did top down where we said everybody has to learn what is in the deck themselves. And if they don't, they have to ask why something changed or what it is. So we would not do any enablement. We would not have multiple people. We would not have multiple places where you can find the information. We controlled that and put that in a single place, and that really worked. That became such a beautiful point of collaboration where as we were learning how to pitch, we would evolve the pitch. As we learned from the product, we would evolve from the product. And that One True Deck became that kind of point of transition between product and go-to-market. So that was really impactful.
So let's move forward then. This will be exciting. The industry is changing every day. Things are moving really fast, and PromptQL is a step ahead. What does the future look like for the product and for your team?
So we believe that the AI future, the next unlock, is going to be what we call AI coworkers. So I think we're on this trajectory of we did AI assistants, AI agents, and the next is going to be AI coworkers. And AI coworkers are going to have two kind of fundamental properties that agents don't have. It's going to be the next evolution. And the AI coworker is going to be multiplayer. It's going to be a coworker. So it'll interact with multiple stakeholders. And the second thing it'll do is it's going to be able to learn on the fly. So it's going to have a continuous learning loop. I think those are going to be the two big things that people start to unlock and start to add on top of kind of the base LLM, right? And of course, there'll be a combination of LLM improvements, post-training improvements, context engineering improvements, the overall architecture itself that will help with that. But we believe that's the next thing. I think it's already started to happen, but I think it'll become a big deal and top of mind first half of next year. It's already started to happen. You can already see OpenAI and Anthropic starting to talk about AI coworkers. You can already see them tease this idea of multiplayer. Dwarkesh Patel on his podcast talks about the missing thing with AI is its inability to learn on the job. So people are starting to talk about it. I think we are the first AI coworker that exists. We'll go public with it and talk about it a lot more in the next month or so. But I think it'll become an industry standard thing first half of next year.
Well, Tanmai, let's switch to you. And I've asked you this question before, but I'm curious if it's the same or if it's changed. Who influences the way that you work? Name a person or many persons or something you look up to and why?
I think it's remained the same. I think my answer has been the same, which is in the moment, there's so many interesting things happening with so many different industry leaders that I really enjoy learning from and seeing the different ways that they operate and take kind of notes from them, interact with them. And I think I remember from the last time we were chatting, it could be people who are more publicly known to people who are not. And I think over the last few years, it's been fascinating to see, of course, Elon Musk operate and learn more about how he operates through people like Karpathy, etc. And again, that's been very interesting. And then, of course, you look at other people from that generation, which has been amazing. I think new for me has also been looking at Jensen Huang from NVIDIA and the operating kind of rhythm that Jensen has at NVIDIA is extremely controversial and very different, which has also been, there's a really nice YouTube interview, I think, that the Stripe CEO Patrick did with Jensen talking about how NVIDIA works and how he operates. And then, of course, following, there's been a bunch of very interesting material, both on the grapevine and public, that has been really interesting to learn from. And I think in the AI world, there's going to be such a massive shift in how people operate that it's going to be particularly important to see how companies that are able to navigate and move quickly work. So that's what I keep my eye open for. But people who are able to navigate the current ecosystem, top of mind for me.
Okay, Tanmai, last question. And again, I've asked you this one before, but I'm curious if it's changed. Now that you've deployed another product, another company with PromptQL, I'm curious about where you'll go with this. So you're getting on a plane, you're sitting next to a young entrepreneur who's built the next big thing. They're jazzed about it. They can't wait to show it off to the world and can't wait to show it off to you on the plane. What advice do you give that person having gone down this road a bit?
The amount of disruption that you want to make has to be proportional to the depth that the market has, is the way that I would put it, which is to say that, so all of us as entrepreneurs have a desire to disrupt and to change the way things work. And the more you want to change, the more disruptive your invention, solution, product, service, business is, the more depth the market needs to have for being able to absorb that disruption. So that kind of balance is really important to be aligned on in what is a very intense journey for every entrepreneur, right? And so I think getting that alignment is really important.
I think that's fantastic. Well, Tanmai, thank you for being on the show again, and thank you for telling the creation story of PromptQL.
Thank you for having me, Noah.
And this concludes another chapter of Code Story. Code Story is hosted and produced by Noah Labhart. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcasting app of your choice. And when you get a chance, leave us a review. Both things help us out tremendously. And thanks again for listening.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.